If any Penn State players were to contact you, would you be interested in bringing it in?
Yeah, we would, because we have recruited some before and know about some of them, and have had relationships with some of them.
How many scholarships do you have available right now?
3 or 4.
Is the process they would have to?
I got to go back and count.
Would they have to contact you, or can you actually? Are you free to contact those players yourself?
I think they're going to let us know before we get out of here what we're able to do and what we're able not to do. But they're always able to contact you. I think they're free. I would bet that they had a meeting today with their players to explain everything to them. They'll probably know more than we will about what they're able to do or not. I don't know if a lot of upper class are bail because they've been there, but certainly maybe the younger kids, if you're looking at a 4-year bowl ban, being a 1AA team.
What are your thoughts about not so much the message that Mark Emmert sent Penn State, but maybe all of college sports about the powerful cultures in some of the communities and maybe needing a little bit more balance?
If that's the message they want to send, I think they sent a clear message. I've never been at a place where that's been anywhere like that, so I don't know. So I wouldn't know what it's like to be. I seem to have been at places where everybody knows what the heck's going on.
I'm seeing a lot more recruiting where kids are saying that they don't. Sometimes they don't know if this is a committable offer or not. If that makes sense. How do you guys let kids know if they can commit to an offer or if it's
Well, we work hard trying to explain to them what a commitment means, and if they want to commit and they're not going to take visits and that's it, then we'll take a commitment. If they don't want to do it, then don't make the commitment. Kids, I think it's best explained today. Kids are making reservations; they're not making commitments. I don't think anybody's committed to anything anymore. If you look, there's more decommits now, and it jumps empirically every year by big numbers. So. There's a big hullabaloo about all these early recruits. I don't think, unless you know the kid, you know the family, you're pretty solid with them, that a lot of them really are committed.
The guy on your number 1 recruiting board said, the number 1 guy on your board, and he said, I'd love to come to NC State, but I want you to bring my teammates as well. How would you react to that? Would you even consider that?
It depends on who the teammate is and how he can play. I think that would dictate what you would do if he can play or not. If he can't play dead, then you might have a problem.
Right off what Joe asked before about the new assistants, have you seen an infusion of energy or whatever, and how do you balance with the more veteran staff being open-minded to whatever ideas they have and kind of balancing that?
Well, they actually come on offense, and the offensive staff actually have been with me longer than the defensive staff. When I came, I hired Mike Archer was new, Mike Reed was new, Andy McCollum was new, and John Tanu. Those were all new coaches. So on the defensive side of the ball, only Keith Willis had come with me from Boston College. Now, offensively, they all came. So, it was a chance to, I think they've been with 14 years for the most part, 13, 10, 10 multiple years. It was a chance to get this thing turned over a little bit to get newer ideas. Now, Des Kitchens played with Troy at Indianapolis. Dana coached him at Stanford. So, we had some guys that knew about him. His dad's a longtime coach. He grew up as a coach's kid. I think he'll be a great man. You win the Blitnikoff Award. That's pretty good. So, hopefully that, with the inexperience we have at wideout, I think that's something else, I looked at, to maybe help us make that ground up a lot faster than we would have normally done.
You said you needed to get off to a quick start this year because of the early difficult schedule. What have you seen this spring and the off season to make you think, we can get off to a quick start? What have you liked about this off season?
Well, I can't watch the off season because it's
spring practice.
So, I can talk about spring. I think there was a great amount of there was a little more intensity. Plus, it helps that we've got more depth on the football team. So guys now are fighting for jobs with the fact that we're going there because they're trying to get on the football field. So that's one thing that competition does for you. That's one thing depth does for you. So, I thought we saw, good competition throughout a lot of spots in the spring, which ends up making you a better football team.
When you're lining up against Beamer, do you ever watch him to see if you can figure out if he's going to pull something on special teams? Does he ever tell?
I don't think we ever had a tip one way or another, but that's something that you certainly, a week in preparation, always remind your kids about.
Look out for the fake, that kind of thing.
Right. I think he was probably as much as anybody, through those early years understood the value of great special teams play. And if you look at through his career, they stole some games early, special teams wise. And that was part of when I became a head coach and knew I was going into the Big East at Boston College. One of my positions was special teams coordinator because I knew we had to play them all the time.
So you say that again?
One of my coaches, I made a coach a special teams coordinator and recruiting coordinator so that knowing that we would have to play Virginia Tech, and at that time, the play of special teams was becoming much more important in college football. In the past, people were just when I was an assistant, I was the offensive coordinator. Part of the time I was quarterback coach or the line coach in those 6 whatever years, however many years it was, I just traded back and forth. Then I was the kickoff return coach, the field goal coach, and something else. Now, where do you think I got to kickoff return and field goal? Maybe Thursday, because everything else I had to do. So, I wanted to make sure that we emphasized it and we had good special teams.
So you had a position basically because of Frank Beamer. You created a special teams.
Well, he was one of the driving forces between me having a special teams coach because he showed the importance of special teams.
How much of an impact did the special teams got much more important. It sounds like you give him a lot of credit for pushing that.
Yeah, I do. I was lucky through those years. I worked for George Walsh and got to go against Frank Beamer. There are two guys if George is in the Hall of Fame, Frank will be in the Hall of Fame. So, that's when you're able to observe and watch guys like that, if you pay attention, you'll learn something.
With David Emerson, have you had to do any sort of managing expectations for him this year where maybe you're not going to get 13 balls thrown at you all year or anything? You kind of talked
Yeah, no, we've already talked about that. He understands that. So, he's got to continue to work. He may not see anything. Maybe somebody will come out early in the year and don't believe last year and challenge him all the time. He'll be able to make plays. But, he's just got to play like anything else within the framework of the defense. And hopefully he'll get his picks one way or another. But he might be better this year than he was last year. I think the only thing he's auditioning for now is his chance playing in the NFL. And they'll know. They won't need to see him intercept balls if he can play or not.
Given that you move him to the wide side of the field, isn't it kind of hard to throw away from moving the whole field?
It would be, but I don't know what people are going to do if they go back and look at him. The other thing is, people are going to have a year to study it too. So, his warts may show up a little more. They may try to take advantage of some of the things that he does.
I think he's good, but I don't think he's Darrell Revis or something. I don't think
Not
that's
yet.
going to happen.
Not yet.
When you have something like that who has
You guys can make great evaluations, so maybe.
He'll be tested pretty early.
Yeah, he
First
will.
game, right?
I'm sure he will.
I don't think Tyler Brady's going
No,
over there.
not going to be afraid.
I'm not going to throw at this kid.
Right.
Just
I
being
don't even
honest.
think he knows who David Emerson is.
They might not. I don't know.
When you have someone like that who has that clear potential, how much do you discuss that process of, like you talked about, the idea of it wouldn't be surprising if he didn't do that for this year. How much do you discuss that future with him while he's
Well,
college
you
player?
got to be honest with it. he sees all the stories on the internet and everything else. So, I mean, you know, it's all about managing expectations. And, you know, he's got to be smart the same way to manage those things.
It's not to say I don't think David's good, but I think he had 4 interceptions against 1AA teams last year, didn't he?
Probably,
Yeah,
but they counted, didn't they?
Absolutely, they can.
Okay.
But I don't think there's
The one he did in the bowl game was pretty spectacular.
I was very. You were putting words in my mouth.